Hey y'all, welcome to the Dr. G Show. I'm Dr. Garrett, and this is Suzanne Blockett, our special guest and co-host today. And we're continuing to talk about kind of heart space, and we talked about pineal gland last time, and its relation to kind of melatonin, which is sleep, and serotonin, which is mood. And then this time we want to talk about thymus gland, and we're going to talk about a couple different ways. Mm-hmm. One is kind of the immunological process. The other one is the kind of
endocrinology.
No.
Endocrinology.
I've been talking all day long.
I know.
No.
I've been practicing this. Endocrinological.
Yeah, it still didn't sound right.
And
that's so terrible.
You know, I took terminology when I was in high school.
Gotta make sure to plug in the.
Oh yeah, let's plug them in.
Plug in the microphone here.
Oh, good. Let's get that done. So, how all of these glands is just a big part of, and if I'm saying this right, it's an endocrine system. So a lot of it has to do with a lot of different things.
I still can't believe I can't say that word. Endocrinological.
Endocrinological.
I can tell you how to synthesize a methylated alkaloid. That helps.
Yeah, that works.
But I can't say that word for some reason.
Oh,
it's like that
maybe
other
we need
word.
More coffee.
Is that like that other word that sometimes guys can't pronounce? It's like sorry. Like I don't know. Like Ima Suri.
Yeah, that's
I don't know.
That's
I've never actually been able to say it because of a guy. So
yeah.
How do you say it? How do women pronounce it?
I'm sorry.
No, I think it doesn't register. It doesn't register.
Okay, I'm gonna sign on here for your
You're gonna do the
live
text
show.
All
so
right.
You can do your thing.
So this is episode 178, I believe, and we're gonna continue kind of talking about some of the glands here. And if you guys have questions, make sure to let us know. And this is kind of your time, so we're kind of here, kind of guiding the process. But if you guys want to go a different direction, or you have comments that you want to make, please make those all through it. And then for those of you guys that watch it afterwards, you can do it afterwards. So, let's see. I'm so excited about the last time when we talked about pineal gland, that they have that DMT drug that's based off what it makes. So you can take care of yourself and feel good, or you can't, and then you just take a drug to feel good. So,
yes.
Either way, it's all the same.
Yes, and there's all kinds of different things that we talked about doing that can help stimulate that pineal gland too. And so some of the stuff we're going to talk about today is sort of a big broad spectrum of things that could possibly work depending on your belief systems. It's just what I kind of did some research on, finding out different alternatives.
Yeah.
And different things that kind of work for a lot of different people. And then he's going to stay on the...
What about Americans? What work for Americans?
The doctor's side. Yes.
She's going to be She's going to be heart focused. I'm going to be brain focused through all this.
Yeah.
So, in relationships in life, you're walking along and you're kind of holding this kind of rod, and you're balancing heart and mind. We're the heart and the mind parts. So, as you guys listen to all this, you got to balance the two. So, with the thymus gland, so I'll start on the science part of this, which I love. So, hey Leah, hey Linda. Glad you guys are joining. So with the thymus gland, it's not one that we talk about a lot, but during COVID, I've actually finally heard them talking about it on the news.
Yes.
And under your chest plate, between your chest and your heart, there's a gland called the thymus. And the thymus is really, really large when you're a baby. And then as you get older, it actually shrinks and gets smaller and smaller. And the whole purpose of it in the beginning, especially the reason it's so big when you're a baby, is because it makes growth hormone, or sorry, it doesn't help make growth hormone. It stimulates a hormone that goes to the pituitary, and then it makes growth hormone, so you grow, so that's important. So you want to get stronger and healthier. We'll talk about a little bit of anti-aging. So people that have better healthy thymus glands are going to actually be younger looking, healthier looking. Like mine has to be great. I mean, at 72, I think I look fantastic. So
I think so too, don't y'all?
the rule is after 40, you tell people you're like 30 years older than you really are. And then people are always like, oh my God, you look amazing.
Great.
So
I know. Hey everybody.
So then the other part, so you not only are you growing, right, but the other part of that is your immune system. So babies are these little sterile creatures inside mama's placenta, and then they go out of this sterile environment, and they're supposed to go through mom's vagina, and they get the gina bacteria all over, like the face is going through there, right? And so it inoculates your nose and mouth and ears and eyes with your mom's gina bacteria. Thank you, Mom. So that's nice. And then you go out of the vagina straight to breast, so then you get some breast bacteria. And then the rest of the whole baby's existence is eating rocks and sticks and twigs and super gross stuff to create this wonderful immune system. But every mom since Eve has passed her blood down to all her children. So there's this big database of everything everybody's been infected by. And so then we have this thymus that keeps this record, and it also has this training ground, which I love. Like I used to teach the postdoctoral program and for functional medicine and integrated medicine, and I actually we did a 36-hour clinical nutrition, functional clinical nutrition endocrine program that people could take. And I remember lecturing about this, and I just thought this was crazy. Mm-hmm. But your thymus has like a training center, and it makes these little thymus cells, little T cells, that are immature, probably like guys. And then these immature ones, they have a test. And the test is, can you identify your own tissues so you don't cause autoimmune conditions? The other test is, can you test pathogens like cancer and viruses, parasites, fungus, yeast, bacteria, that's bad, and can you accurately identify those? So before those T cells are released to your immune system to go everywhere in your body and do their job like neighborhood watch, they first have to pass these tests, right? So the first one is, he has a grasshopper. No, he says, grasshopper, can you grab the stone from my hand? No, you didn't watch Kung Fu? Damn it. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? They all watch that. You didn't watch that before Saturday morning cartoons?
Kung Fu was like 20, 30 years ago, right?
I watched reruns on
okay.
Nick at Night.
Yeah, because I remember that was maybe a long time ago.
You were just trying to make me sound old then.
No, you said you're 76.
Oh, that's true.
Or 2 or whatever it was you said.
It doesn't matter when you're this age.
See, you've been through it all.
It's all blur. So when I was in my 30s, I used to watch Kung Fu theater, right before cartoons.
Everybody was Kung Fu fighting. Right, was that the same thing? Or is that a different thing?
So listen, me and Aaliyah, or Aaliyah and I, if I'm from Texas, me and Aaliyah, but Canada, Aaliyah and I went to go to this concert at Afton Lake not too long ago, and they had some martial arts group that was getting together, and then a friend of mine was playing in the band, right? So we went to go watch this. And so I was like, are you guys going to play Kung Fu Fighting? And he said, no. I'm like, how could you literally go to a martial arts convention to play music and not play Kung Fu Fighting? And I was like, well, at least at the end, does somebody bump into somebody and knock the popcorn down? And then like, oh, you're...
Everybody was...
Yeah, and then they all start Kung Fu Fighting?
Right.
No.
No.
Nothing. So we went to this concert, no Kung Fu Fighting, and no singing about Kung Fu Fighting.
And there were no T cells happening.
Oh yeah, we were talking about T cells. All right. I'm old. I'm just getting distracted.
That's why I'm here.
Back when I was in the war.
Back in the day.
So
okay, T cells. Back to T cells, because y'all, T cells are like really important right now.
Yeah.
Especially with all the COVID stuff. And it's not that it's not important any other time, because it's all about...
It's all working.
It's all about protecting our bodies.
Yeah.
From
so yeah, with
any
coronavirus
virus or whatever.
You know, it's all just T cell activation. That's it. I feel like there was a boy that died in this office years ago, and sometimes
he
you
runs
can see the
around.
ghost occasionally. I don't know if that's true or not, but I feel like I feel his spirit sometimes. That was Alex.
That was Alex. He's my 7-year-old getting ready to turn 20.
He was our co-host, but he got axed. Did not know how to synthesize a methylated alkaloid. He's out.
Yeah.
And we replaced him with Suzanne. So when your T cells go to this in your thymus, they go through this university training, and they're like, hey, don't cause autoimmune conditions, and figure out what cancer and bacteria are and bad viruses, and fight those. So when they leave that thymus and go into your circulatory system, they have this database that then has everything you've ever been exposed to. So like if you look at coronavirus, yeah, you got 5 of the coronaviruses your lineages has been exposed to. Mm-hmm. It should have an idea of like, yeah, there's the COVID-19, because now it has the same face, but it has a little mustache. I can see through that, right?
Yeah,
but if
we're
immune,
going to get them.
Yeah.
That's what the little T cells are doing.
Exactly. But if your immune system is suppressed a little bit from cortisol or too much stress or bad diet or chemicals, then all of a sudden it can't recognize that coronavirus with the mustache anymore. And then those are the susceptible people. Mm-hmm. So all this stuff we're talking about today, we're talking about thymus, we're going to hit part on the immune part, but even the heart stuff that Suzanne's going to talk more about, that's all your immune system. That is whether or not you get sick. You are exposed to hundreds of viruses, hundreds of bacteria every single day, and it's whether you have barriers that are defective that becomes the problem. Mm-hmm. So if T cells are doing their job and you're happy and healthy, great. You're not the one that gets sick. I don't get sick ever anymore. Ever. Mm-hmm. Ever in years.
I don't think so. I don't think I've seen you sick. Maybe an allergy or something.
I ain't got no allergies. That's the opposite side of T cells. Well, you should not have T cells that attack pollen as if pollen's a bacteria virus. Mm-hmm. Allergies are autoimmune. Allergies is T cell dysregulation and molecular mimicry. See, I can say that, but I can't say endocrinological. I got closer. I got closer.
You did.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So really, those functions, your endocrine system is the growth hormone, which is what he's getting ready to say, but it makes the immune chemicals. It's considered the youth center.
Yes.
The thymus gland is located near the heart.
Yeah.
So are you finished? I just kind of went off. Sorry. Are you done with the T cells and stuff? Did you do?
Guess I am now.
Okay. So I'm gonna prop my prop up too. So basically, when he's talking about all of that immune system stuff, on some levels, there's firing going on. There's new cells. There's T cells fighting stuff and more stuff and stuff enough.
Stuff and mixed snuffagus.
So a lot of immunity also can be called a lot of autoimmune or unimmunity or whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of things that can break that down. There's stress, which it's in our lives every day. There's a lot of stress, and what happens is that stress will reduce the amount of blood flow, like things collapse.
Yeah, narrows arteries going to organs and glands.
Yep, and the heart and the center will shut down. Blood flow shuts down. You ain't got any energy anymore, and then what happens? The autoimmune system maybe isn't working correctly.
Yeah.
The endocrine system's not working correctly. So all of a sudden, we've got parts of that that's shutting down. So
Yeah.
that's why in a lot of different areas of belief systems, that whole area is considered the heart chakra area. And so then when we talk about that energy that produces, or the lack of, then we're not getting energy flow in the proper places either. So then when we were talking about last week about the pineal gland, so all of a sudden that kind of gets slowing down. And that's our happiness center. That's what throws out DMT and serotonin, makes us happy, helps us sleep.
Yeah.
Which is so when one thing's not working, the other things aren't working.
Yeah.
And so we know that we need to have, our glands play a purpose for a very important reason. We need to be able to take care of them. And to do that, we have to make sure that we're ingesting proper things, not having chemicals. And later on, at the end of the show, I'll talk a little bit about what we can do to activate the thymus gland and what to avoid. But you're probably not surprised what to avoid.
No.
There's never a surprise.
Not at all.
Because, you talk about it in your show like every time.
Stop causing the problem.
Stop causing the problem. When you talk about stressful things in your life, or when people have stress in their life, they need to understand how to regulate that. And so, which then the glands are responding to. And again, a lot of it has to do with what you take into your body too. But can anyone talk about, list something on the feed here, that if you have experienced depression or stress, what did you do to come out of it?
So basically, do you have children?
Or any of that, so what we're talking about is creating the normal, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, which is a lot about stress too, right?
Yeah.
So what we're talking about that is
the sympathetic one.
The sympathetic, yeah. Or did I say para? It's
I
just
don't know.
sympa. I think I said para.
The para is the one that's in the class that helps the sympathetic.
That's why we love him, right? That's right. So when your nervous system is all whacked out, what does it affect?
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
So we want to create a new blood flow to those areas so that everything's working properly. So removing stress and removing some other things, what we'll talk about at the end of the show.
Yeah.
And just making sure that we're taking care of those
taking
glands.
Care of yourself? That's crazy talk.
I know.
And that's what, some of you guys might have heard people talk about the thyroid, pituitary, adrenal pathway, and basically it creates a little triangle. You might throw adrenal, thyroid, pituitary. I feel like there's one more in there.
There's a few.
And even hypothalamus. But the reality is, like all these glands actually create these hormones that are releasers and inhibitors. So everything works off a negative feedback loop. So it's always too much, too little, too much, too little, within a normal range, right? So your body's always kind of like waxing and waning based on what you actually need. So it creates a really good kind of balance or circadian rhythm, like we talked about before, until it's disrupted, right? And so you can't affect one organ system without affecting all the others, because this organ triggers that, this gland triggers that gland, which triggers that gland, which then triggers these organs, or triggers all these nerves, and these nerves have an interconnection. So it creates this really like delicate web of interactions that have to kind of have a normal circadian rhythm, normal amount of nutrition, normal amount of stress, and if they do, everything kind of flows and repairs like it's supposed to. But if you live life that's incompatible with life longevity,
right,
then you throw that system into chaos. And then all of a sudden it's a little disruption of melatonin, it's a little disruption of serotonin, it's a little disruption of oxytocin, it's a little disruption. And then we'll call that a symptom or maybe a disease. So
yeah, exactly.
But it's just life out of balance. It's just we try to live this lifestyle that's incompatible. And we do that until it doesn't work anymore and we can no longer distract and we can't eat for happiness anymore.
Right.
And then we fall apart.
Right.
And then we end up on antidepressants, and then 70% of those people will get worse, and then everybody just feels like crap. So when we talk about like America's just so anxious, so depressed, our lifespan is shutting down. Like my generation's the first generation not to outlive our parents. We're going to lose 28 years off our lifespan. You're talking about dying in your 50s and 60s? That's insane.
That's happening.
Insane. You're having children with cancer.
That is happening.
Children, 20-year-olds getting their legs chopped off for diabetes. That's unheard of stuff. But
it's scary.
The solution is that balance part. So much of us are just kind of like, what can I add? Like, just tell me a drug or tell me another supplement I can do. But why the hell is it not working the way it's supposed to work in the first place?
And speaking of drugs,
yeah, I owe you $20. Is that right?
Yeah. We're talking about the thymus gland and oxytocin, right?
Yes. Which are hormonal drugs.
Yes. And I have heard, or I have seen that there's research that says that if you take oxytocin, that it's not addictive, right? Or is it? Or is it produce more oxytocin?
Well, so the
like
way that
more
works...
oxytocin produces more oxytocin.
No, so the way that works is with negative feedback loop. If you take an actual hormone, you will downregulate your own production of that hormone. So Pitocin, so this is where you see like women that will be like, you know what, I'm going to have a baby, and the doctor goes, well, we're going to have it on Thursday. And your body is supposed to dump all this oxytocin naturally from your pituitary. It loosens all this ligaments, and so then you can squeeze this basketball through a pear, and everything stretches, and it's great. But that oxytocin that stretches you out also is your love hormone. So then the minute baby pops out, goes to breast, that's the exact distance babies can see, and then you guys gaze into each other's eyes and you fall in love, right? So oxytocin creates this loving bond. But your doctor says, you know what, we're going to have the baby on Thursday, regardless of your oxytocin level, and don't worry, I'll give you synthetic Pitocin, and then it lowers the oxytocin level, the things don't stretch like they're supposed to, and then it's complicated, and then they have a fetal heart monitor, the pelvis doesn't stretch out like it's supposed to, it starts cramping on the baby, baby's heart rate goes up, and then they go, oh my God, baby's in distress.
C-section.
C-section, right? I had natural childbirth. I did most of the work. I don't want to brag. But my 15-minute effort was pretty much...
I'm sure it was way more than that.
17.
17 minutes?
So when we had our babies, we had them natural childbirth.
Yeah.
But we had them at the birthing center, and everybody from the OR, we had twins, so everybody from the OR was in there. They were prepped. They were ready to go. And they had never seen natural childbirth with twins. And like, you guys work in this field for decades and you've never seen a natural childbirth? Like, that's crazy. But there's a good movie called The Business of Being Born. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, no.
That's really good.
That sounds
but it
good.
talks about how they basically create a system that guarantees everybody gets a C-section, right? And I don't know if you did a C-section. During my rounds, I sat on some of those, and it is just like, those people were messed up because they were just like, okay, time, like this, and then fluid goes everywhere. They pull the baby out, they're doing all this stuff, and it's just like,
the next one.
They were just like trying to like beat their old time, like it's crazy.
Yeah.
So
the key word there is that your body produces more oxytocin, the love hormone.
Yeah. That
hormone is responsible for compassion, trust, forgiveness, love, and generosity. So if we're not producing enough oxytocin, and why would we not be producing enough oxytocin?
Because we were born through C-section.
That too.
So the end of that story though.
Because the bond even. Think
Right.
about how less of a bond, because your body wasn't able to produce that oxytocin. So when women have babies, could that have something to do?
That is why.
Could that have something to do with post-traumatic?
Right. Yeah, it's called PMDD, I believe.
Okay.
But basically, so again, if you do a C-section then, and the mom has just got cut open, so she gets pain meds, which then dope down your own oxytocin, and then the baby gets taken away and put in a little baby cooker. Mom goes back to her room to recover. Eventually, they bring the baby in, and there's a sheet up, like you can't see the baby coming out with a C-section. So then they just hand you this baby hours later when the oxytocin's all gone, and like, yeah, this is yours.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, okay, whatever, I guess. And then you'll have postpartum
Wow.
depression with that.
Wow.
And that's a normal, like that is not why do women have postpartum depression with this scenario. That's exactly what should happen because of the lack of actual oxytocin and allowing moms just to birth a baby. For the most part, if you just let the mom go, the baby falls out, right? Just like on the Meaning of Life, that Monty Python Meaning of Life, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, if you let it go long enough, it just happens.
That just amazes me. That explains a lot of the disconnect that is happening on our planet with relationships. This has taken me in a whole different direction.
Well.
I can't wait to do. I'm going to have to do my own show. I think. But maybe I'll have you on standby, so I can talk about girl stuff. You know,
I can talk. I have 4
emotions
daughters.
and
I can
love
talk
and-
about girl stuff.
Yeah, well,
You know how many
well, as long as you're up
period
for it.
stories I have to listen to?
I know.
So
yes, I'm just off in another world right now thinking about that.
so that
That's
oxytocin
interesting.
is the fall in love hormone with adults too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So oxytocin through your thymus stimulating your pituitary,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you stare into each other's eyes,
Mm-hmm.
you actually will make oxytocin,
Oxytocin,
right? Fall in love.
and it feels really good.
Yeah. So that's why I always try to look away. When you look, I don't look away. I'm like, don't fall in love, Patrick. Right?
Well, you know what I mean. I mean, if 2 people are having an interaction, I mean, that's just a given. But
Yeah,
but
the fall
if
in
you
love
have
part.
a lack of oxytocin, I mean, what? And with age, does it decrease with age?
Well,
Oxytocin?
it shouldn't, but same kind of thing. Your thymus is decreasing, but your glands kind of also respond by use, right? So if you're exhausting yourself through cortisol, that actually inhibits the thymus's ability to do its job. It suppresses things like oxytocin, and then a lifetime of exhaustion. Who wants to fall in love? Like it's
Right,
exhausting.
Right.
So, the other thing is like hand holding, foreplay, intimacy, cuddling. All those things also raise your oxytocin level.
Yes.
So in a society, especially now with like COVID, where nobody's touching, people are looking through the screen, you're not building any of that love hormone at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And I think a lot, I thought about it today on a more energy level. When like the staring into someone's eyes that you care for, if you are putting energy into that other person,
Ooh.
it increases their oxytocin, which increases all the other functions to get, blood flow.
Yeah.
And then, so mindset changes, the whole 9 yards. However, if you're running away
Yeah.
and not giving someone that focused energy or that energy from far away, the relationship can crumble.
Boom, it's gone. Yeah.
And then,
You have to
and then
nurture.
we
It's
don't
just
have
like
any
plants, right?
oxytocin. We're like, screw that.
So like plants that are
and
ignored.
people get whacked out in their head.
Yeah.
And their pineal gland and the other,
Yeah.
the amygdala can go off at any moment, and so you're trying to be in love state, and if someone's not in that state, maybe we need to understand how to do that, how to regulate.
That's all I am.
That's because,
That's
I
all it
read
is.
today, it's like, there's this music that is supposed to increase love and energy. And
Is that rap
people,
music?
yeah, right. And so people were commenting below that, they've been heartbroken, and the person that they were with for however long, just ditched them, or there's some kind of thing going on where they can't recover from it because they lost all their oxytocin, just like that.
Yeah.
And it happens in lots of relationships, marriages.
Oxyblock.
Oxyblock.
That's what we'll call it.
That's our new
Trademark.
term.
That's patent pending.
Writing it down right now.
Patent pending.
Oxyblock.
Oxyblock.
God. And we should make some kind of like rose water mix blend or something, and we could call it Oxy Recover.
Oxycover.
Oxy Recover.
Oxy Recover.
Okay. So nobody can do this because
And you
it's
sprinkle
live.
it on that person while you're staring at their eyes.
Because this is
Okay.
live, it's copyrighted.
So listen.
Just remember that. Oxyblock.
Suzanne and I participated in an oxytocin thing when we did sexy meditation.
Where was that?
You were there.
I was so far out, I guess.
You were there.
Who did
weren't you?
that? No, I don't remember that.
Terry.
Tara?
No, Terry.
Who's Terry?
It's Jim's wife.
Was that meditation?
Jim Maddox, right?
Oh, yeah,
Terry.
yeah.
And she did the meditation once instead of Scott, and she made us all.
I wasn't at that one.
You were not there?
I didn't get to. And
Oh
where
my
they put
God.
people together and they had to
Yes.
stare in each other's eyes for an extended period
We
of time.
had to be knees
Yeah.
to knees facing someone,
Mm-hmm.
holding their hands for 20 minutes, staring into their eyes, and giving. So 20 minutes, I give intentional thoughts to that person, positive intentional thoughts, and then for 20 minutes they give it. So it's 40 minutes total, right? And so there was two choices. There was Tracy's daughter, who was 16, and then there was this new dude, Michael, that's in the group. And he's new, and so I thought it'd be funny as hell to pick Tracy's daughter, but I didn't think that would go over very well. So so I picked Michael, the new guy, and I thought, well, okay, fine. So now, okay, two things. One, if you make eye contact for long enough, you fall in love, right? Two is if you make eye contact long enough with a guy, y'all gonna get in a fight, right? You can't mad dog someone for very long. That's like if you don't staring at somebody, you don't break eye contact, that means you're gonna kick their ass, right?
Oh, that's
so
funny.
here we are,
Yeah.
sitting in our freaking mindful meditation class, and I'm holding Michael's. You were not there. God
No,
dang
because
it! That whole thing.
Tracy and Scott paired up.
You would have loved this.
They're buddies.
So
now.
I'm holding his hands, and he's a kind of tough guy, and like our knees are touching, and then for 20 minutes. So the first start when I start staring at him in the eyes, I'm like, okay, I've never looked at a dude this long in the eyes, even Brad Pitt or Ryan Gosling, neither one of them,
Leslie,
right?
good to see you.
So first thing I think is like, dude, don't fall in love with me. Don't fall in love with me, right?
Yeah.
And then the second part is like, man, is he eyeballing me? Is he eyeballing me? So I'm supposed to be like participating the right way, but in my head, I'm just like, don't fall in love, don't get in a
no
fight.
oxytocin going on there.
And then it was very,
I missed it.
very awkward. I cannot believe you would have loved it.
I would have.
You would've loved
That's
that.
my thing. But
Holy crap.
that's amazing. Some of these things, like what Patrick was talking about with the a woman having a baby.
Yeah.
Who teaches them that stuff so that they can make an informed decision? Like, I'm not sure that I want to go that route. Now you're telling me. I mean, it's kind of.
Yeah, you used to have this group of moms and aunts that would all get together and kind of like mentor, and now it's very independent. It's my baby, it's my pregnancy, it's my stuff, and I don't want to hear you. And then everybody's reading books and all this stuff, and then it just seems like chaos now.
Yeah.
As opposed to like this kind of constant nurturing from woman to woman to woman.
And it makes such sense because of the disconnect that's happening on our planet with the, children not growing up with being nurtured properly, or I'm not even going to say properly, but just the feeling of nurturing, that if a baby, you take maybe a baby who has gone through a natural birth, all of that oxytocin was produced, and then the breastfeeding and all of that bonding that happened.
All that changes
all of that
the pattern
changes.
of hormones and nerves.
Yes.
It rewires the brain for that. So like kids that are isolated, same thing. Like if you take that baby away from the mom, there is neuro changes and neural patterns that's going on, because now it's staring at a plexiglass block and a bunch of people walking by.
Yes.
And that's his first exposure, right?
And that can come up later in life, or even throughout their entire life. That's sad.
I was in plexiglass!
Yeah. I mean, it's a serious thing. That might be another show, actually.
Plexiglass baby syndrome.
Yeah. Okay.
But can you imagine?
And, Leslie, I think Leslie's doing some of that for people. And I commend her for that, where she takes babies over the weekends and takes care of them and loves them and coddles them. Because I think a lot of our history goes back to maybe specifically that. And how we really need to start creating more oxytocin so we can share love. And I think that there's a big awakening happening with all of this stuff that you do for a living.
Yeah.
And how our societies are kind of deadening that with chemicals and all the other 9 yards of things.
Yeah.
But I want to show this picture really quick. We're going to pop onto a different topic. But that is awesome. The oxytocin, and you can get it in synthetic.
No, you don't want to.
You don't want to.
No.
Okay,
It'll downregulate your own production.
So how do we produce more oxytocin?
Slow down.
Okay.
Have quality time, nurturing time, holding hands with the people that we care about, touching people that we talk, being intimate with our partners, making eye contact, and that's what, so this is the other thing. So women are more likely to make oxytocin with intimacy, holding hands, back rub, all that kind of stuff, right?
Venus.
Guess when guys surge oxytocin? Guess.
When they're playing basketball.
With the basketballs. No.
Yeah.
When?
I'm not going to say that. You be nice.
When
Present
they
it nicely.
finish.
Oh. That's great.
So when men ejaculate, they have a surge, like an overwhelming surge
amazing.
of oxytocin. And if they didn't say I love you before, that's when they say I love you. But that's why you want to make eye contact, right? And you're like...
And you know what? I'm just going to honestly go out there and say that doesn't happen in marriages and relationships and intimacy.
Yeah. Right.
Because of the industry that creates a different kind of image about that stuff.
Wait, what are you talking about? What you talking about?
So I'm just saying that even, there's...
Because intimacy is kind of dead now.
Right.
Like there's no romance. Romance is...
Yeah, because nobody has time. They're stressed out.
Yeah.
They got 2 minutes to, say I love you, good night.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
So even if you're having a quickie, make eye contact during it, but especially at the very end. And that way you keep him being tricked to be in love.
Oh, Lord.
And then he's going to keep her tricked to be in love by holding her hand and kissing on her neck. And making eye
those
contact.
are things that, everybody needs more oxytocin.
Yes. So that's how you raise it.
Do the things, do the work, do the things that create more love, and whether it's with your children, hold them more, talk to them more. My son we look in each other's eyes when we talk.
Yeah.
And that's kind of unusual these days.
Yeah.
you're
gonna show your picture.
Yeah, I want to show my picture. So this is a scan that I'm going to show you of the area surrounding the pineal gland that has been activated. And so I went and got this book today. It's Dr. Dispenza. I think I'm on a roll here. But it says Becoming Supernatural, because we really need to be educated more on how all of these functions work together.
Yeah.
And just like you were talking about, I did not realize that oxytocin was a big producer of having a baby, and how, since that's how the bonding and the love energy flows. Now that's just absent sometimes. So I'm going to show you that this is the brain scans that's showing the different angles of when the pineal gland is activated. And that gland is like pea size or less. So if you're looking at this, there you go. If you're looking at it, it's like that looks way bigger than a pea-sized gland. So we want to activate that.
Yeah, because it's really like that big.
It's tiny.
But then the activation is like that much.
And its purpose is to send out yum, DMT, the things that make you feel really good.
Hella cool.
And so we want to make sure that we're doing those things that stimulate that pineal gland, because I think, really honestly, there's a lot of other glands that they all kind of work together harmoniously if we're doing the right things, if we're...
all connected.
All connected. And a lot of times, like I read something today that, especially with the pineal gland, is that if you kind of get clarity and you get a hint of who you actually are, and you're not living some kind of identity that has been your past. So you move forward, and you are who you are and who you become. And especially when that pineal gland is activated, like that picture, I mean, I can't imagine that person isn't feeling really good as a person.
Have you seen those whole body like PET scans, or what are they, like thermograms? Like when they're loved, when they're angry, and you see the parts of their body that are like lit up.
Yeah, so I'm
like
going to show you.
Where does that heat and energy go when people are feeling loved, or they're feeling angry, or they're feeling frustrated, or they're feeling jealous? I think love was mostly here. I think it was mostly here, not here though.
I have.
And then another one.
Okay, so this gives you.
Well, that's auras.
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, this is.
Oh yeah. Those are auras.
The GDV measurements.
GDV.
What is that? I don't know what that is. GDV measurements of subjects' energy before they started an advanced workshop, which is part of a 4-day intensive workshop about meditating and all of that. But you can see the different, like this was the biggest impact, I think. So when they started the program, this was the scan for this person, and when they finished, that was the scan. So when we talk about, all the different processes in our body, I mean, we apparently we emit a lot of energy. So that has a lot to do with whether or not we're eating well, whether we have too many chemicals in our body, how do we cleanse all that stuff, how do we get toxins out of our body and our systems. There's a lot to talk about in an hour on this stuff.
Toxic emotions.
Toxic emotions. When people hit bottom and they just don't have anywhere to go, what happens? They let go. They give up. They let go of everything. Facing fear. You got to get on the other side of that emotion. Believe in something. Your past story. Start moving forward. And a lot of that has to do with all of the energy and food and chemicals we're around, and what we do with our lives, stress management. I actually was with Alan Goddell today. He is helping me with myofascial release. And there's lots of different points in the body as far as where you can have release of muscles and things like that. And I can't help but think, and I haven't really done an extended research on it, but I can't help but think that by doing that, it's releasing a lot of toxic something. I don't know. I mean, do you have a direction for that?
Well, we all kind of store, especially, I mean, the simplicity, like the most simplistic kind of thought about this is like, so, if someone says, hey, the in-laws are coming in town, people start tensing up like this, right?
Low.
And so instead of being chest open, they start closing up, and then they will get knots in very specific places, and those knots are triggers from those reactions. So why is it when I have these stresses, I have stress points, and then you can release those, And that releases that emotional tension too.
And then there's points and points.
Yeah.
So look that up, and if Alan has a chance to get on here and kind of explain that a little bit more. And so basically when you're getting to the bottom and you realize I need to make a change, I need to go see Dr. Garrett, I need to understand my patterning of eating, my lifestyle. I don't know how much of that he shares, but lifestyle changes, producing more oxytocin, enlightening your pineal glands, understanding. We need to be more educated about how all of this works together.
Yeah. And the solution is always the same.
It is.
It's the simple answer is always create balance, create normal. Mm-hmm. And we all get caught up in the complexities of like, well, maybe it's this, maybe it's that unique thing. Like, I have this patient that's overdoing everything in their life, and then the doctor's testing like the most obscure, rare things. But it's like, no, you can't work and not take care of yourself and just martyr all day long and expect you're gonna feel good. That's not a rare disease. You can't do that. I can't not put oil and gas in my car and expect that it's gonna run for very long.
Right.
But when it crashes, finally breaks down, well, I have engine lockup syndrome. No, I didn't put oil in my car and I was supposed to, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And everybody wants to run around and help everybody else, but no one says, how do I create normal? How do I become the light? How do I open up my heart space? How do I open up my mind? How do I have healthy love and healthy expectations?
That's right. That's right. It's amazing. We all need a reason to feel safe, and I believe that when we have all of these things working correctly, and opening our heart, and physically, like opening our heart, because I went on a girl trip last weekend, and
she went on a sexist mountain climbing trip that
did
not involve
it was
men.
just all the girls. So maybe next time.
Yeah, when you guys don't have a co-ed, I can gossip.
I think so.
I can talk.
We can maybe.
Why
do
am I
that.
not invited? You guys are just excluding men.
Nope.
Men haters.
Nope.
Women
We
empowerment?
went to bond.
Women empowerment.
Nope.
Is women empowerment men hating?
Nope.
That same thing?
No.
All right.
Okay.
I'm happy for you guys.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Who all went?
Well, it was me, Damaris, Carol, Sherilyn, and Heather.
All the coolest people ever.
We had a great time. Oh, we had a great time. So we all need, so we all need a reason to feel safe, and I was saying, so I'm in the middle, right? Because I have to see out,
Wait,
or I get motion sick.
Where did you guys go?
We went to Frisco, Colorado.
Colorado.
It's beautiful.
You're in the back or the front?
I was in the back.
In the middle?
In the middle.
So you can see.
Yes.
But you're encapsulated by other people?
I felt so warm and safe and secure.
That's so funny.
But so once in a while I'd put my legs up, right, and I'd put my arms like this, and I guess I had sat there long enough for Heather to say, hey, do you wanna put your legs over here or down or whatever? You're closing off your lung space. And I was like, whoa, I didn't even think about that. And so, when we have stress and things are going wrong, and it could be even a physical thing, which I experienced last year, is that these muscles and all of these things are kind of closing in on you, and you don't even realize you're walking around with a really bad posture. Things start kind of shutting down, and it could be emotional or whatever the case is. But I didn't realize it. I was closing off my oxygen.
Yeah.
Just by sitting like that.
Yeah.
So you think of someone who might be depressed and they're just sitting there not getting enough oxygen. We're going to share. We only have a few more minutes left, but let's share.
And when you do that, you actually will increase carbon dioxide, which then triggers your sympathetic response, which then causes anxiety.
Yep.
And you're just sitting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Melinda asks, what effect does the thermal thermometer scan have on this gland? I have read where some are concerned with the frequent temperature checks on forehead aimed at gland. Any thoughts? That's very interesting.
Well,
I don't know.
I would assume it's more benefit than risk with that.
Exactly.
I don't know. Like, again, you have lots of different spectrums of waves that are going through you all the time. You can put a phone up to your head and get every phone call there is, right? You can put a receptor to a TV up here and you can get every channel. Do you know that?
I did not.
All those waves are going
Are you
through us
serious?
all the time. Yeah. You can take a radio and get an old school with an antenna. You can put it anywhere around your body.
Why?
And you'll get it.
Because we're full of energy.
And if you get braces and they're filling, and then you can just hold it slightly apart, you can like actually play radio stations. Do you know that?
I did not know that. Did y'all know that? That is amazing.
Yeah, people would actually hear voices, but it was actually the connection between the two somehow.
So,
that sounds crazy.
So, Melinda, that's probably something out of our range of, we probably need to do some research on that. I have no idea.
We're going to do research means we're not. We just don't know.
We're not sure. That might be a Google question. So in closing, does anybody have any more questions? I'm going to scan through here real quick.
So you're going to talk about solutions, though. So the solution.
Mariah says, me and Scott are watching you guys right now. So
Aww.
careful, LOL. Hi, you guys. So the question I asked earlier about what are some things that you do that help with depression or, maybe regenerating some of that energy. And Jessica said exercise, positive music, healthier foods.
Yeah.
Of course. And Linda says depression equals friends having talked me through to distract my mind, stress, and I listen to music. Those are a couple of things. Those are really important things. I don't see any other questions on there, but if you have more questions, go ahead and pop them on there because we'll be, Patrick mostly will be looking at them later on.
Who's the last person?
Bobby.
Oh, Bobby says, Bobby asked a question.
Says hi, Patrick.
Is that with a question?
That's what it says.
She thinks I'm high?
It says hi, Patrick.
Oh, like hello.
Hello.
All right.
How are you?
All right.
Okay, so a couple of things. And also, keep in mind that what we're talking about is sometimes our outer environment makes us feel victim to a lot of different things, which causes depression, which causes a lack of eating healthy foods, a lack of exercising and doing all of those things. So we all need a reason to feel safe, and so everything that we've talked about today, it's really important to infuse those things into your life, and especially start with Dr. Garrett. So, did I call you Dr. Patrick? I think I did. Start with Dr. Garrett.
Dr.
Make
Jizzle.
the decision that there's all kinds of different ways to affect change. So the thymus gland. So I'm going to just read off a couple things that can help stimulate the thymus gland. And so by tapping, it's it's right there in around the sternum, like the base of the sternum. You can also take essential oils and put that on your chest, and it kind of helps too. Vitamin C rich foods, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale, root foods,
Fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, berries, legumes.
Did you say
grains.
roots or fruits?
Fruits.
And
Fruits.
again, this goes back to immune, to help the immunity, which is
keep you healthy and
the thymus gland.
not sick.
So see how that kind of went full circle? Sleep, exercise, meditation, stress reduction, and I want to talk about heart-centered meditations too, because I think that might help too.
Is that like the sexy yoga I did? Or sexy meditation?
Yes.
Like that?
Yeah, like so when he was talking about sitting face to face, just doing stuff like that will help definitely. There's also something called binaural beats. Binaural beats, which is a frequency that you listen to, and some of them do have a little bit of beat.
Yeah.
But it's basic frequencies that help attune those energy frequencies in your body, which help and I know this is this is coming from me, that it helps tune frequencies that are out of whack.
And if you think about that too, kind of like, there's times where I listen to like hardcore gangster music, and I feel really calm. But a lot of times if I have extra stress in my life and I listen to gangster rap, it makes me feel anxious.
Anxiety, it causes things to...
And so you can listen to, you'll notice kind of like with the sense of like different kind of music, beats, rhythm, all that, kind of like really paying attention to, do I listen to this music and does it make me feel kind of balanced or does it make me feel kind of off balance?
And what a great way of testing how balanced you are. If you listen to something that like messes you up, you're like, oh, I think I need to do something different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. And then Adiva says singing makes her happy, and yes, singing is really important. Dancing, holding hands, even if it's just your friends. You know, one of my friends, I held her on the trip for a little while. And it felt really good, you know, just sharing. And so I made it a point when we were on our trip that everybody got a good morning hug.
Oh,
because
you guys are all huggers, aren't you?
There were some of us, you know, some of them were. They do hug, but you know, it's
really?
Yeah. And there's a lot of people who really do have a hard time with.
So you guys forced hugs on people?
I did.
I do all the time. I'm just like, what's up, girl?
Okay, come get your morning hug. Really important. What to avoid. This is a very hot topic. This is very controversial. And we're not saying that I'm not saying that I agree or disagree, but avoid immunizations.
Yeah, avoid them.
So, yeah.
Unless you love babies injected into you and monkeys and... No, it's... that's always a personal decision, but
it is
a
personal decision. But to know the dynamic
benefits versus the risk.
Right.
Yeah.
Avoid fluoride, which we talked about last week. And there's also something I read about how to cleanse fluoride is with iodine. So how would you feel about?
Yeah. So do kelp.
Kelp.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, seaweed.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love seaweed.
Yeah.
Sprinkle it on stuff. You know, it's a salty alternative to salt.
Do you know?
Which is actually really helpful.
Some people like seaweed. Some people like smoke weed. Some people like to touch weed. But you're talking about seaweed.
I'm talking about seaweed.
See the weed.
Okay, well I think that's a good start on helping you with your thymus gland.
So, the things that suppress it: what you eat, the chemicals you expose yourself to, and then the stress. So again, all those kind of things, eating mostly fruits and vegetables, nuts, seeds, berry, legumes, and greens, eating real actual food, only eat to get rid of hunger, that's it. Then basically trying to avoid as many chemicals as you can, just do natural kind of cleaning and wear mostly cotton stuff as much as possible, buy real furniture, you know, try not to buy a bunch of plastic and wear plastic and eat plastic.
Or use aluminum.
Yeah, don't.
I know, aluminum foil.
Parchment
what
paper.
Are we gonna do?
Parchment paper.
Parchment works just the same way. Yeah.
And you know what? I had a patient today because he's like, well, I took. What am I supposed to do with meat? And so I was like, well, do parchment paper. That's what it's called, butcher's paper, because that's what they do. But you could. So what he did was he did butcher's paper, and then he put Saran wrap around the butcher's paper for extra security, and that's fine.
To seal it.
Because that way the meat's not touching the plastic, which is petroleum, but it's touching the parchment paper, which is fine and healthy.
That works.
Yeah.
All right, but still you're having to be around the plastic wrap.
Yeah.
It's still petroleum based.
You got to maximize good, minimize bad.
Your natural grocers, your natural food stores, Whole Foods, they'll all have alternatives to that kind of stuff too.
Oh yeah.
It's a little more expensive, but if it means reducing disease.
No, that's so it
works.
It's not expensive. This is the cost of real stuff. If we say, instead of using parchment paper, let's make petroleum that messes up your hormones, will cause you some infertility, some PMS, probably have cancer, but look, we're going to charge you 20 cents less. Yeah. That's really, it's not costing more to buy real stuff. That's what real stuff costs like. But if they poison it,
I gotcha.
they will charge you less. And then it feels like, but
And
the goal is just buy a hell lot less stuff.
yeah, we don't need all that stuff, do we?
Yeah.
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 And you know, 20 years ago, natural food stores were like hard to find.
Oh yeah.
It was hard to find. And so it's becoming more popular, so I have noticed it's less cost.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I do think that people are getting on board. Go to your farmer's market. Here in Wichita, there's a Sedgwick County extension that has an unbelievable array of homegrown vegetables and fruits and meats.
Oh.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and I was going to tell you something.
Downtown too.
I'm going to tell you guys my bad story to good story of being taking care of your own damn self sometimes. So most of the time I feel pretty freaking amazing. I went from just horrible to feeling great and wonderful, waking up happy and all that kind of stuff. And then I have my little routine, and I have my little cats, and then like life's just kind of easy going. I do my photo walks, and so I have this very like leisurely kind of life. And then I started dating this wonderful woman, and all of a sudden I'm staying up later, kind of like going to the gym a little bit later, and then I'm skipping lunches, and I forget to eat lunch, or I forget to eat breakfast sometimes, and then like it started weighing on me a little bit. And I wasn't taking care of myself, right? So then I felt a little bit more tired, and then I was just like, well, maybe I won't do the ab workout, I'll just do the arm workout, and so then I'm doing less, and then I get to work, and I'm just like, oh, I'm so hungry, and so I didn't pack lunch, so then I eat a taco, and then I feel like super tired, and like feel horrible, like depressed, eating that. And then I'm like, well, maybe I just need a little bit of caffeine to pick me back up, and then I'll get my stuff done. And then I drank a little bit of caffeine, and then I fall asleep at my office, and then I wake up, and then I didn't get my stuff done, so then I felt overwhelmed. And then like after 3 or 4 days of that, I was just like, I talked to my friend, and I was just like, man, I don't know, I'm like losing it. I don't know why, because life's so good, and I have so much positive stuff, and you know, I have so much wonderful stuff. But then she was like, are you taking care of yourself? I was like,
first thing.
No, and I sit there, and again, mindlessly,
Nope.
I'm telling patient after patient, you cannot sacrifice yourself, you have to have these things, and you know, all this stuff I'm telling them. But I didn't even see that pattern with myself, right? And so then it was like, okay, no, I'm getting sleep, right? So let's get some sleep. And then in the morning, I'm going to eat a healthy breakfast, which I normally don't do, or pack lunch, but I ate it for breakfast anyways. And then I was just like, I go for my walk, I went to the gym, and then it's just like, holy crap. And then, of course, augment with B vitamins if I need them. And oh my God, like today was a whole different world. And it's like, oh yeah, you have to take care of yourself. But it's very easy to fall in that trap of like, well, maybe I'll just do this thing to quick fix for the fact that I'm not living a lifestyle that's compatible to life, and then that one has a consequence, and I'll just compensate with this. And that's where I used to be, like, you know, 16 years ago, or not 16, yeah, 16 years ago. Yeah. But where I was just kind of constantly coping with this incompatible lifestyle while I was telling everybody else to get healthy and watching them get their whole lives back and feel amazing. And then one day it's just like, hey, I'm going to start doing what I tell patients to do. And then it really is that simple. Because sometimes I would just be like, well, maybe my thyroid's out of whack, and maybe it's this thing, and maybe it's that. And like, no, I'm not getting enough sleep, I'm not drinking water, I'm not getting physical activity. Of course I should feel awful. I should feel awful, and things should not work well until you create normal.
That's
so
right.
with the thymus, pineal, all this kind of interconnectedness, the solution's always the same. Create healthy normal, and most of the complex things just go away.
That is correct. And so also alternatives to a lot of things that we do in our life. I was going to run through a couple of names here of places in Wichita that you can check into. This is a list, it's a resource list that
they're all closed because of COVID.
Not everybody. You can just check. But this is a resource list that we put together for our Wise Women group last year. Of course, family health and wellness. We've got sound healing, chiropractors, functional and integrative medicine, meditation, somatic experiencing, which is a body-based therapy through a therapist.
Oh, that's Jenny Home?
We got Dawn Robinson, Carol Harmon, Sherilyn Dalkey, Tanya
Oh,
Rutenbeck.
Sherilyn Dalkey, that's the one.
And Tanya Rutenbeck, too.
Yeah.
So meditation, we've got Center of You, New Age Center, and Retreat to Joy. Inner Works, in the Body Workers is Inner Works Holistic Health, Tropos Therapy, Soothing Aesthetics, and this was last year, so we have actually more
Is
on the
Retreat
list
to Joy still doing meditation once a month?
I don't know.
I think they might be doing it
check.
online. That was a great one. I liked going to that once a month.
And so we've got, of course, I saw Alan Goddell at the Tank House today, and then Experience Wellness with Matt Goddell. He's also chiropractic there. OptiLife for a health and wellness center, and it's beautiful, by the way. And then so some of our books, well, for me right now, it's Dr. Dispenza's Becoming Supernatural.
Supernatural.
How common people are doing the uncommon. And this is just what we're doing. We're just trying to help people with information. So some of our favorite books, Bright Line Eating by Susan Pierce, Mindful Eating, Self-Compassion is Radical Acceptance, Self-Compassion, Living with Your Heart Wide Open, and I don't think I've seen that one. I haven't read that one. Energy Medicine, Hot Asana Yoga, Mindset Reset, Mindsight by Daniel Siegel, which is, he actually does one that I read about how children's minds develop, and how we interject that oxytocin with them. So, and it's also very neurologically based book. So, those are some fun things that you can. And Institute for Restorative Health. Contact them. They're out of Derby. They've been open about a year now, and it's another beautiful place. They use a lot of different techniques to help restore balance and health. So that's it for me. I think that's what I promised you last week.
Nice.
So.
Well, thank you guys. Join us now. Today we're Wednesday because yesterday I had to get sleep because I was not getting sleep and I was dying, and so I did self-care. Imagine that. I did my own self-care. So that's why we didn't have a show yesterday, and then I feel wonderful today, so we had our show today. So next week we'll have another topic on Tuesday. I believe next week on Wednesday we're doing an extra show with on biofunctional therapy. So I'm very excited about that, and we'll have some really good pre and post examples, but it'll be a interesting side topic.
Awesome.
All right. Love you guys.
Right.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for watching. Let us know how you like the show.
Yep.
We really appreciate you.
Yeah, please share, and see you next week. How does this work? Uh-oh, that did not.
Here, I gotta do the exit music. Hang on a second.
There we go.
Wait, we gotta do the exit music.
You're not even logged in? All right.
Here we go.
This is our exit. We should have like jazzy music.